Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you. Hi. Happy Thursday Night Live. Not Saturday Night Live. I just realized that. Wasn't intended to be a joke, but I appreciate it for what it was. Hello and welcome. Hi. Oh, how are you guys doing? We're almost 1 week post-eclipse, and honestly, I'm thrilled about it. The energy is not as intense as it was over the last month, basically, but especially the last week and a half. Thank you. Yay for the heaven, bringing me water. I put my water on these sigil cards, like this is today's sigil card, I'll show you. I put my water on these cool sigil cards. I have a whole bunch of them. They're from a guy named Freddie Silva, and I don't want them to get wet, so every time I get my water back, I have to like dry them off. Super duper good. Hello. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I am getting over a little bit of a cold. Earlier this week, I got the crud because I have kids that are school age, so I got the crud. But I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, wonky energy is better than like super dense energy like we were navigating through. It's been better. I know I'm a little bit early too, so thanks you guys for hopping on early. I had this scheduled for 5 p.m., but I was like, nah, was a couple minutes. Yeah, so I'm drinking tea, so if I for some reason have a coughing fit, bear with me. I feel fine. It's just like stuck. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah, welcome. So I always say I'm healthy as a horse. I used to think that meant healthy, and then I worked with horses for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, and they are never healthy. Oh God, they're never healthy. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, healthy as a horse, because I was a horse kid. I was a horse girl for sure. But then as I worked with them, I basically started riding when I was 4, and I've worked with horses forever and ever and ever and ever and ever since then. And they are never healthy. Ever. So, yeah, I use the affirmation, I'm healthy and well and immune to all illness. I'm sorry, I'm healthy and well and immune to all illness. That's like my go-to affirmation to affirm that my body is healthy and flowing all the time. And as soon as I start feeling a tickle, I like extra use it. And it really, really helps. Like I got this much less than my kids got this, which is really nice. Horses are absolutely healers. Horses, and honestly, all large livestock are huge healers. They teach you how you can move things with your energy. They're incredibly impactful. Horses, all big animals, are very, very, very deep healers. They will give you the strongest wisdom I've ever gotten. Other than from trees, has been from horses. Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely the changing of the seasons. I actually just did a bonus video for my patrons about like energy healing techniques to help with like the changing of the seasons and the seasonal cold, seasonal depression type energy. So yeah, if you're one of my patrons, it's coming at you right away. Yeah. What about lovebirds? Birds too are really big healers. Funny, my lunar eclipse was spent getting chickens. So we have chickens now. Fun fact, we have mountain chickens. They're getting adjusted right now. 2 silkies and 2 astrolorps or australorps, I don't know. But they're around, and it's very funny to feel their energy out because I've spent some time with chickens, but not a ton. And so I'm like feeling their energy out and like testing the waters there, which is just, they're so different. Birds are an entirely different type of wisdom than, mammals are. Oh, you were a tree in a past life. That's amazing. Trees are so wise. And they're so interesting because we think of fears we have around like things like death and passing and things like that. And trees don't have the same understanding of that energy. And they do speak different languages in different areas. There's like different dialect of tree energy. Oh, thank you. There's different like dialects of tree energy, which I know sounds very interesting, but Kristen and I talk about this all the time. So if you followed our podcast, you've probably heard us talk about this of like, oh, like East Coast trees speak totally different than West Coast trees. And like Tahoe trees speak very, very different than like other places trees because like trees truly have their own like different energetic dialects. It's really interesting. Yeah, different energy, different trees. And it's not even like type of tree specific. Like sometimes it is, like sometimes I'm like, ooh, pine trees, you know, but like, or types of pines or like willows or aspens, like there's a little bit of different flavor there, but it's also more like area based, like what the rest of the trees around them are speaking. And like, it's more based on their like environment and the energy that they've had to live through in their environment, like all sorts of different stuff. Yeah, it's based on like more environment than it is like species of tree. It's so interesting. Is there any significance to tattoos, or is it just what you ascribe to them? So that's a great question. It really is more about intention. So I've actually activated all of the ink of all of my tattoos that I've gotten. I have so many tattoos. And so in my opinion, it's one of the coolest activations you can kind of give your body is to color on it, to put stickers on it, you know, like you would to do sigil work on anything else. It can be very much a sigil. That being said, if you just like a specific design, it doesn't have to mean something super important. You can just have an intention behind it of it's going to be healing or it's going to be activating. Or even if you already have tattoos and you're like, I didn't do that. That's totally fine. Activate the ink that's in your tattoos at present. That's the same way you would activate, like send the intention to the tattoos of whatever energy you're wanting it to be activated with. And absolutely, you can totally do that. So you can make tattoos significant by, you know, having a significant shape or be a significant image to you personally, but you can also just add intention to make them significant. Absolutely. Have you been able to channel the oldest willow tree? I've never actually tried. I usually try to only do trees while I'm in person with the tree. Not for any really particular reason. For me, it's just more clear, and I feel like it's a way of me honoring the tree a little bit and feel like being in its space when I speak to it. So I actually haven't ever tried to channel the oldest willow tree. I bet it's really interesting. I used to live in the redwoods. So I used to live way up in like Humboldt County, so like Eureka, like really northern California. So I used to live in the redwoods. So I've talked to redwoods a lot. They're deep and they will not hold back. They will tell you how it is 100% of the time, which I love. I absolutely love. Yeah. Have I ever done automatic writing? Yeah, I've done automatic writing a bunch actually. So I work more with like channeled writing and then I get into an automatic writing space. Automatic drawing I tend to like a lot more because it comes out with a lot more like symbols and then I can channel it into it the energy of the symbols or the images that I'm seeing within the drawings. But yeah, I've done automatic writing. One thing I would recommend is if you want to do automatic writing, start with doing like a channeled writing situation where you like ask a question, ask your guides to answer the question, set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes, just stream of consciousness right from there. And then at the very end of that, switch hands to your non-dominant hand and try to just write and see what comes out because you'll be really deep into the channeling brainwave and that helps with that. Yeah. Did I feel the Sasquatch people out there? Oh, absolutely. There's all sorts of stuff hiding in the woods, like energetic stuff and physical stuff, for sure. Redwoods, hello. Oh, welcome you guys. I was just looking at my phone. I'm like, I should have charged my phone before the live. I feel like it'll be fine, but in case my phone cuts out, that would be why. I'll give you guys a warning first, but I feel like it's gonna get there. Also, I do post all these live recordings. I had a couple people ask. I do post these live recordings on my YouTube every week. I just posted the one from last week. So if you want to watch this later, you totally can. I get my nails done at a place called Infinity Nails in Reno. These ones I'm about to get them replaced on Saturday, but this is them. Thank you. Yeah, I go down to Reno, Nevada to do it. Yeah. Someone asked about shielding their home. I shield my home. Will that prevent me from being able to connect with spirit guides at home? Oh, no. So no, that won't prevent you from connecting with spirit guides at home. Shielding your home is, depending upon how you're doing it and the intentions you're setting behind it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you like want to shield your home from letting yourself talk to your spirit guides at home. And that's fair too. If you want to do that, you can set that intention, but it shouldn't prevent you from talking to spirit guides ordinarily. It's just preventing you from like having interactions or having energies enter your home that you don't want there. Your guides are not part of that because they are something that you want there. You want to connect with them. Generally, I'm not saying you can't. You can totally choose to not if you don't want to, but if you want to, which I want to. So my shielding and warding around my home doesn't include my guides at all or any, honestly, any benevolent spirit, because I'm fine with spirits coming into my space if they're benevolent and they let me know that they're there. And my guides will also let me know that they're there. But that's what my shielding and warding is. You can really make it customizable. So if you have a shield, it won't prevent you from talking to your guides. Good question. I also go to Reno for errands. Yeah, I live in a place where there's not a lot of stuff, so I have to go for like an hour to go do anything. But it's okay. I make a date of it with one of my like best girlfriends, and we go and hang out and get our nails done every 3 weeks or so and dive in. Oh, it was a really cool question, but I didn't get to read it all. Where did it go? I don't know where it went. It's okay. Ask again, guys. Do you do tarot, or how do you read? So I do tarot, but I don't actually do tarot readings for anyone else. I do them for myself. Tarot and oracle card. I actually prefer oracle cards to tarot cards because I really dislike things that have rules. And tarot has a lot more rules and structure around it. Not saying that you can't break the rules in tarot, you totally can. But for me, I prefer oracle cards. I'm a card dragon though. I have so many different decks of so many different types of cards. So like, don't take that as a hard and fast rule. But as far as actually doing readings for others, I do intuitive readings. So I call them soul readings because really there's no limit to what we can do. Basically, most of the time I'm tapping into your higher self, your energy field, your spirit guides. And from there, we can branch out. We can talk past loved ones. We can do pet communication. We can look at your past lives. We do a lot of healing, block pulling, and releasing. That's how I do a lot of my readings. They're really unique, I would say, and different from a lot of other types of readings out there. It was hard for me to explain exactly what I do because they truly are led by your guides, and then I get to translate and help move some energy for you. Of course, the whole thing is centered on your consent, and I never do anything without it, even within a reading space. So you're safe, held, and honored within that space of how I do my readings. So that's how I do them. And I do the same with group readings, but group readings I'll do more of like, if someone has a block that they need pulled, I'll pull it for the whole group space. If there's an activation that needs to be done, I'll do it for the whole group space. You name it. So, yeah. That's a great question. Oh, I'll totally be on an episode of Mediumship and Meal. Why don't you go ahead and shoot me an email? My email's on my Linktree, and let's talk about it. I would love to be a guest on that. Thank you for reaching out about that. Also, I'm in a magazine. I forgot to tell. I haven't really announced it yet. I guess I'll talk about it on here. I'm in Psychic News Magazine in the November issue. If you guys want to check that out, it's just Psychic News Magazine. It's about where we go when we die and historical mediumship and historical channeling. So if you want to check it out, it's online right now. It came out like 2 days ago. So I'm really excited about it. I ordered some physical copies. Like, it's a physical copy magazine. So I ordered a couple physical copies. And so when they get here, I'll show them off because I'm really excited about it. But it's super stoked. It's such a fun random thing. It just makes me so happy. So I'm excited to talk about it. Someone asked, what is one thing? Oh, thank you for my little crown. Actually, that reminds me the new Mario Kart tracks came out today, and I am really excited to play with my kids later. What is one thing we can do every day to strengthen our connection with our spirit guides? La 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 la. I can't help but react to those. I don't know. It's so funny. Talk to them. One thing you can do every day to strengthen your connection with your spirit guides, talk to them. Genuinely just, and it could be about nothing, and that's great, that's fine. The more you take the pressure off of communicating with your spirit guides, the more easy your human brain accepts that communication and understands that communication and helps you relax into it, like genuinely. So it doesn't have to be something where you're like asking what my mission is and all these different things. That makes it harder to connect with them. If you're talking to your spirit guides every day, just little tiny things. It can be you asking for something like, hey, I really, really, really need to find a gas station with the bathroom I can use. Can you help me with that? Or a parking spot for something. Or, hey, like, can you help me with a little bit of confidence today? All of those things are fine things to talk to your guides about. Additionally, however, you can also just be like, hey, what should I have for lunch? And just see what comes through. That's how you're going to get to know them better. That's how you're going to feel more connected to them. That's how you're going to start to notice different personalities of them come through. And the big thing with that is make sure you're paying attention to what your unique perception style is. So we all have our own unique perception style or blend of perception styles. Those are your clair senses. And there's 8 individual of them. I've talked about them so many times because it is a huge area of study for me and expertise. So if you want to figure out what yours is, if you don't know what your clair perception style is, I do have a downloadable activity in my Linktree, totally for free, that you can go into and download. I also have some videos on my YouTube if you want to check those out too about clair styles. But that's the key with guide communication is just start talking. It actually is 2 ways, and that really is important to think about. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. I feel like I don't connect with any single perception style. Could that be a block? It could be a block. I guarantee you have at least one. Most likely what's happening is you actually have a combo of multiple perception styles. So on that activity, I actually have a way to walk through that teaches you how to like walk through and figure out what your perception styles are. What I recommend is if you think back on anything spiritual that's happened to you, ask yourself, how did I perceive this event? Was I told things? Did I just know things? Did my physical body react? Did I taste something? I mean, you name it, and then go from there. Or ask your guides, be like, okay, I need some pings. When I see a repeating number this week, when I see a synchronicity this week, I'm going to pause and I'm going to tune into all my senses. Please give me messages through one of my senses, and it will really help you with that. Yeah, great question. I took Latin in high school, so when I came across your Rome trip, I geeked out. Yeah, I have so much more to post about my Rome trip. We did so much, and I've posted some videos on my YouTube about it too. But we're also going back to Italy. If you want to come with us, we're going to go channel history some more in Italy, which is like my favoriteest. Rome is my favorite place, like other than Lake Tahoe where I live. I love Rome with all of my heart, mostly because of the book that I finished writing it. I just need to edit it and everything. It's called Locusta. So it's a channeled history of an ancient poisoner who lived in ancient Rome. She was a woman and she poisoned multiple emperors. There's a historical record of her, but she needed to be channeled in and given her own historical fantasy. So ta-da, did that. But I love the energy of Rome and the innovation there and the energy there and the ghosts I've met in Rome, all those different things. So I love Italy in general. But yeah, so I'm so glad you geeked out about that because I geek out about it all the time. Can you talk to your spirit guides without asking for help with things? Yeah, totally. Hey, what are you doing today? Hey, I would just want to share this with someone. I've had this revelation in therapy and I need to talk about it with somebody. I mean, you name it. You can absolutely talk to your spirit guides about anything. My guides are like my best friends. I talk to them constantly. One of my goals for a while was to try to annoy them by talking to them too much. It never worked. It didn't happen. They knew what I was trying to do and they did not care. Well, one of them got annoyed, but that was beside the point. So no, talk to them about whatever you want. There's no pressure there. Like I chat with them about literally everything. I may need to get a phone charger here in a second. I'm like, no phone, hang on, but we'll see. Oh, when you were in Rome, the spirits were so kind and helpful. Yeah, they really are. Like it's really interesting. I was actually through a whole twist of fate and I did a YouTube video, about this. And I also did a video in here about this. We were in the forum on the Ides of March, and it was such an interesting experience to feel like the sadness and then like the scheming like energies just around because so many ghosts and energies that were still resonant there gathered there, and I was like, it was kind of a trip, and my husband had to like keep calming me down. I was like, what is happening? And then I figured out it was the Ides of March, and I was like, oh, now I know what's going on. So really interesting. Do they really want you to have boring small talk with them? If they're aware what I do daily. Yeah, I mean, okay, so guides aren't sitting there watching you 24/7, paying attention to everything you do, because they're whole and complete beings themselves. So some of your guides might be, if that was your agreement with them. Some might be checking in on you at certain times in the day. Some might have you on a baby monitor, so when you do a certain thing, they're like, oh, they need my help now. There's a million different ways that they can interact with you, but the truth of it is anything that helps build your relationship with them, like your guides are about it. And if that means talking to them about mundane things or asking them to show you something funny today so you can have like a joke or you name it, like it's not something that is, I feel like we need to oftentimes like de-Western Christianity from our perspective, because there's this notion of like, oh, they're higher and holier than thou. Like, no, your higher self knows them. Your higher self interacted with them. They already agreed to help you. And if that means they have to put up with your mundane small talk in order to get better connected with you, like, that's on them. They agreed for that. I must always trigger my baby monitor. Perhaps you do. I have a couple guides that are like baby monitor style guides, and sometimes I'll try to poke at them on purpose just to be like, did I make it happen? And they'll be like, no. You poked at me. Oh yeah, I'm trying to do these lives every Thursday, so sometime between like 4 or 6 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays I'm going to try to be live. You can out loud talk to your guide or in mind talk to your guides. Either one. It's all about intention. I will in mind, because if I'm in the grocery store and I want to talk to them about something out loud, it's a little freaking weird. So I try to do it into my mind as much as possible. But either way, you can do it either way. Oh, is there something you can do to protect myself from others reading me? I find it intrusive. First of all, I think it's intrusive too. I think spiritual consent is just as important as physical consent, absolutely. And I would never, ever, ever, ever tell anyone to tap into someone else's energy without their consent or permission, because I do believe that's intrusive and not fair. The first thing I would say is tell your guides, like, if someone's reading me, can you let me know? Or be like, hey, send me this energy or something like that, so I know that someone's tapping in on me. And then you can quite literally be like, rubber, I'm rubber, you're glue, bouncing that back to you. Like, push some energy towards them, pull a wall of earth up around you, whatever feels good, to try to, like, prevent that from happening. Or, you know, you can energetically kind of confront that and block that off. I'll come across it on here a lot. Not so much recently, but this has happened. It goes kind of in waves. And occasionally, like, something will pop up and someone will be like, here's the healing hand of Reiki, and just immediately start the video doing that. I'm like, whoa, bouncing that energy back. I did not consent to that, and I don't know you. I don't want anyone doing work on my energy without me knowing who they are and what they're trying to do, or anything like that. So I do that on videos on occasion as well, because energy work can work across the digital space, for sure. When there's someone's... Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm totally happy. Like, consent is so, so, so important to me. Like, there's always ways we can help with that. Someone asked, I think, for an external way of grounding you. One of my favorite ways of grounding your energy is to just put your hand on your head. Preferably your dominant hand. Just do it for 30 seconds. You'll feel way better. Way, way, way better. Yeah. People always ask for reading on other people's energy, and I'm not that psychic. Yeah, so I always say, first of all, you as the person who's being asked to do the reading can absolutely say yes or no. Second of all, if it comes to some other person's energy, what I will always say is, like, listen, I can tell you what they're throwing off, but I'm not going to read their energy. Like, I'm not going into their energy. I'm not tapping into their space. I can tell you the energy they're throwing, but that's it. Like, I can just, and that's just because I can see it. Because I will absolutely not go into anyone else's space, no matter what. So if you want to do that, yeah, go for that. Yeah, you just had that happen today on here. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's not cool. No one's supposed to be able to... No one does Reiki on you without your consent. Not cool. Spiritual consent is so essential. It's just so essential. Like, this is stuff that, like, can really, really affect your life, right? Like, when we do block pull sessions and readings, when people, you know, of course, have consent, or when I do them on here with a big consent energy there too, like, you can see a huge and immediate difference, because this stuff is magical and powerful and can, like, literally change your life. Like, I've cured my allergy to cats using just energy work, just pulling beliefs and blocks. That's big. And so you have to be able and willing to consent to that. Also, in order to have the full impact of the energetic work, the person needs to be consenting too, because they need to be understanding what's happening as well. Yeah. Yeah. How do we know if we have guides? Everybody has spirit guides. Everybody does. I have tried so hard to find anybody who wouldn't. I've channeled spirit guides for thousands of people. I've tapped into spirit guides of, like, celebrity figures just to see if they have guides going on. Oh, that's gorgeous. It matches my lights up there. I've tapped into guides of, like, serial unalivers to see if they are actually there and what's going on. Everybody has guides. So I promise you do. Oh. Ooh, wow, a bunch of stuff just popped up really quick. Hello, hello, hello. I was putting out negative energy because I was on a roll with someone right after. I was like, ooh, I don't really know what that means, but I am so sorry if you absorb negative energy when you're on a roll with someone, because that could be funky, like super funky. Oh, that's cute. I haven't seen the little paper crane before. How lovely. Yeah, I'm a psychic medium. Honestly, labels are weird. Really, more than anything, I'm a spiritual consultant, meaning I consult for spirits and I consult for spirits for you, because I do it both ways. Most of the time I can consider myself a psychic, an activator, and a historical medium, but I can do mediumship stuff, which is talking to people or beings that have passed on. I can do psychic stuff, such as seeing future sight stuff, past life things, talking to your guides, talking to your higher self, energy work, things like that. And then, of course, activation things as well. I help you activate your psychic abilities, as well as additional activations that maybe your guides lay out. I'm happy to energetically work those in too. Ooh. Okay, I'm a teacher. And one class out of 5 is a lot. Their energy is mind-blowing. Any recommendations? Yeah. So, what they're usually doing for your protection is what I'm going to recommend, because they're probably drawing off of your energy and pulling on your energy in that class, because they feel, if they're super out of control or whatever, they're like pulling and pulling and pulling and wanting more and more energy. So before they come in, put your feet flat on the ground and pull a crystal point up around you. Layer a whole crystal point up around your energy. That's going to create an earth shield. And the reason I suggest earth shielding is because if you're in a space like being a teacher, you have to be intuitive. You have to have your energy naturally flow the way it needs to flow in order to get you through things. And earth shielding won't stop that from happening. Your energy can still flow. You can still be yourself instead of like containing yourself in a box and like fighting with your energy. What will happen though is you'll put a layer of earth energy around you. So when they reach out to grab onto your energy to get more and more energy, they'll get energy they need instead of just your energy that fulfills them for the moment. So they'll get earth energy that can help them actually be sustained, that sort of thing. Yeah, it really, really helps. I do my readings via Zoom, actually. I don't do anything really in person unless I'm at like a conference or convention, which I am hosting. Rebecca the Ghost Guide, Crystal Lynn, and I are hosting our own conference in January in Richmond. It's called Sacred Spaces, a gathering for responsible spiritual exploration. All the information is in my bio, but sacredspacesgathering.com. And we're going to do keynote speeches, we're doing speed reads, we're doing workshops, all that sorts of stuff. Anyway, thank you. We have some amazing people signed up to do it with us too. I'm so excited. Yeah, you can get internet, Richmond, Virginia. Yep. You can get internet tickets for it. You can get in-person tickets for it. We have VIP and we have basic. I will say right now we're having a weird issue with the website. So if you want to just click on it, see if it lets you get into checkout. If not, in the next couple of days, it will. We are beseeching Hermes to like, hey, could you let this move through, please? For some reason, there's like an error happening on the website end. But hang on, you can get tickets soon, I promise. They are live, but I don't know what's going on. Technology is technologying all over the place. I have been seeing all the pet ofrendas on TikTok. For a while, I was wondering what the heck that was about. But I think it's a beautiful way to honor their energy. It makes me so happy. Yeah. Ooh. I was answering a question. Trying to read a question and it like zipped away. It's so funny. Any advice on self-trusting? Yeah. I always recommend affirmation works when it comes to self-trust, because truly trust is something that we all are dealing with on different levels. And self-trust especially is something that we're all dealing with on different levels. So instead of doing something like, yeah, just affirm, like, I totally and completely trust myself, that might be really helpful for you, but chances are good it probably is not. So creating an affirmation that is the next truest thing to that and saying it on a daily basis or saying it every time a self-trust thing comes up can really, really help. So for example, if you're like, oh, I don't think I did that correctly, or I can't trust that I'm going to actually get this done if I do it, or, I can't trust that I actually tuned in or got that ping. You might want to instead have an affirmation of like, it is safe and possible for me to trust myself. And so when those beliefs come up and they rear up, you can immediately counteract them with it's safe and possible to trust myself, instead of being like, I fully trust myself. So it's really, really helpful to pick your own affirmation based on what you can believe is the next truest thing and then grow it from there. That's a great question. Yeah, in the mirror. You are one good looking badass. Look at you go. Do you think forgiveness is an important part of energetic work? No, I don't actually. And I know that is a hot topic. I have a lot of very controversial spiritual takes as far as the New Age community goes. One of that is like, forgive everyone, forgive yourself, forgive those who have wronged you. I think that's actually really inherently harmful, and forgiveness can be something that you can strive for if you feel like you need to do that. Awesome. I respect your journey fully, completely. I think it's amazing. However, if you're someone who's like, you know what? I don't really feel like I have the capacity to forgive that person, that's not stopping your spiritual journey. You can absolutely do your healing work and your growth work without being ready to forgive somebody. That's completely fine. And at the end of the day, the only person I think that you need to forgive is yourself, because it is more of an honoring of your journey and the fact that you were able to get to where you are now. You can honor the fact that you came from somewhere and maybe did some messed up things, and maybe those things harm people or whatever, and you need to really work on forgiveness there. But as far as forgiving people who have wronged you, I don't feel like it's personally a necessity for your spiritual growth and energetic growth. If anything, I feel like sometimes it's something that holds you back because you're forced to forgive somebody that maybe you're not, and then you don't really feel it, and then there's a weird push-pull sort of energy there that's not fantastic. What's a crystal point? Do I have one super handy? I do. Pause, I will show you. Is there one on my desk? No, there's not. Okay, hold on. That's a crystal point. It's just a pointed crystal. A little obelisk. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, my pleasure. No problem. So, not trying to spam, just touch on energetic level of narcissistic and psychopath guides, please. So, here's the thing. I've been really passionate about trying to figure this out for myself because I have personal life experience of being in a relationship with basically that person. And I was like, why would their guides be helping them still? And I was trying to figure out one day, I was really, really pissed off at the world about stuff because, you get to do that sometimes. And I was like, why? Like, why is all this? Like, why would people have guides that are helping them hurt others and whatever? And one of my guides came in and silenced everybody else and basically looked at me and was like, the universe does not operate off of your sense of morality. And that's as much as you're going to be able to understand about it. And that fucking sucks. But it is true. And we don't actually know what Earth is here for and what its purpose is. Like, I have ideas, but holy damn. So every time I've ever tuned in to someone who has a different moral code than me, that treats people in a really, a way that I don't approve of, and I talk to their guides or try to understand their guides, I always think about it in that way of I need to be understanding that the universe does not operate off of my sense of morality. And I know what I believe is right and wrong, and I can honor that in my journey, and I can't make the universe honor that in other people's. So, yep, there's that. Yeah, thanks. Not really like it's my take, but it is my take, but also it's a lot of me just, channeling that in. So, yeah, it hit really strong with me too. I cried, and then I calmed down, and then I felt better, and then I've kind of grown from there. Yep. Our children do not typically have the same guides as we do. Our children have their own guides. Every being has their own guides. I will say there's no rules here. Like, there's not. So sometimes a parent and child might have the same guide, or someone was a guide for you first and then goes to be a guide for them. I mean, there's a million different things that can happen, but every unique being has their own unique beings helping them for the most part. Not saying one guide can't be a guide for a whole bunch of people. They totally can. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily follow family lines. Again, no rules though. It could. Yeah. Oh, what was that one? Oh, I wanted to read that one. Come back. Have you been guided to connect to, have I connected to my guides throughout all of my lives? Or throughout all my life? Kind of. So when I was little, I had my psychic abilities really activated. I thought everybody could do this, which everyone can, but I thought it was normal. Like, I thought this was like everyone saw the world, and everyone could see the forest spirits that I could see, and everyone could see the guides that I could see in the past loved ones, and I just thought they were around, and media didn't really help, because I thought, according to media, like, yeah, seeing ghosts was like a thing. Like, look at Casper, right? Like, I was just like, okay, like, this is just a thing. And of course I discovered that wasn't the case. So my guides are around then. I didn't realize they were guides. I just thought they were, beings that played pretend with me, my imaginary friends, people that would give me messages about stuff. I was a very open and accepting kid. And then later on I tried to shut them out, and my guides were still very much with me. They actually, one of my guides in particular, she's a physical protector of mine. If anyone was on a live from a couple weeks ago, she like shoved one of the crystals like into the space. Like, she's very physical. She like moves stuff in my space all the time. And she would freak me out so much because she would be around all the time. And I was so scared of her because I didn't know who it was, that like by the time I was like 18 years old, I was having like my mom sleep in bed with me every night because I was so afraid of this thing that was in my room that was spooky and no one could tell me what it was. And I didn't really want to talk about it because I didn't want to be more weird than I already was and all that sort of stuff. So my guides have always been with me. Of course, I got over that. I've healed through that. A lot of my journey, you know, is why I help people now, is because I don't think that opening your psychic abilities should be the hardest thing you ever do. I think it should be easy, fun, and flow and full of healing and love. Not in like a all everything's love and life sort of way, but in a, okay, this can actually be easy and I can incorporate this in my life journey sort of way. So that's why I do a lot of the work that I do. But yeah, my guides have been with me, not all of them, but a lot of them have been with me for a very long time. Sometimes guides carry over from past lives. Sometimes they don't. It's each unique incarnation that you do is unique and different. Sometimes you'll have people that have like, maybe were even incarnated with you in a past life and they're now your guide because they're not incarnated with you this time. Like there's all sorts of different variation there. How do you balance your energy and stay focused in your life with all the tragedies going on in the world? That's a great question. Honestly, it's been a challenge. It's been a really big challenge. When things happen in the world, I do have to like energetically disconnect my energy from collective. I process through as much as I can, but I can't just be absorbing that while I'm going to like my kid's soccer game, because life still has to continue. And in a way, that's how we honor the tragedies that are happening in the world, is continuing to live life and not shutting our eyes to it by any means, but like living and honoring and appreciating our days more and more, and sending as much loving and caring energy that way as we can when we feel it. So I will absolutely, every time it comes into my energy, I send as much love and caring energy that way as I can, and also do things in the physical realm that I can do to support it. But when I have to shut off the energy to collective, I intentionally do that, knowing that I will return and do more work later. So it's more of a balance that way. Yes, your higher self can absolutely be one of your guides. Absolutely. I'm a psychic medium. Also, do you feel like crazy people are attracted to us? No, I feel like people in general are attracted to people who have very open energies. I mean, the amount of times that I've been in the grocery store and had someone come up just start crying at me or give me their whole life story or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I left my energy really open right now. I do need to close that in so that I'm not just a beacon for someone who needs some energetic offloading. I think that it's truly just people in general are drawn to people's energies that vibrate with them. That, not saying like crazy people or something like, oh, I love the boo ghost. I'm not saying like crazy people or anything like that. I'm just saying people that might be having a challenging energetic time, or subconsciously maybe your energy speaks to their energy and they understand that maybe you can help them get some insight or whatever. I'm not saying you have to. You definitely do not have to help people that way, but I'm just saying that if you have an open energy space, people will be attracted to that. If you're carrying energy, people will be attracted to that. So you can shut that down as you need, and you don't have to help everyone who interacts with your energy, but that tends to be where that comes from. Are you... You guys are so sweet. Thank you guys so much. You're so awesome. Thank you for liking and just being here. I so appreciate getting to hang out with you. I love doing these lives, to be totally honest, because I just like to actually like interact with this community and like feel more like it's not so one-sided, because it's hard to keep up with like comments and notifications and stuff a lot of the time. So just know that I appreciate you, and I think this is so fantastic. You're all awesome. Do you think we all should be more spiritual, and why? I would love spirituality to be a dinner table type conversation. Genuinely, I would love everyone to know how powerful they are and know that they can influence the world around them, etc. Do I think everyone needs to be more spiritual, though? No. Everyone has their own unique journey, and maybe some people's journeys are to be here and to not be connected. And I can't enforce what I want on top of that, and I can't say that what I think would be better, because I don't know what their journey and purpose is. What I would say, I would like spirituality to be a larger part of the collective so that people can understand that unique and individualized spirituality is healthy and healing and beautiful. Do I think everyone should be more spiritual? No. I think the people that are drawn to it should be. I think people who have desire to be more connected should be. I think people who are inspired by magic should be. And that's who I honor. What a cool jellyfish that is! That was so neat. I loved the way that it moved. Woo. That was really fun. Yeah, and I would love for people to see that it's real, because it is real. Like, I would love for it to be common knowledge that spiritual truths, magic, manifestation, those things are real. And I think we're getting to that point, even in the last 10 years. Like, I'm able to have a platform like this and speak to you, which in a way I wouldn't have been able to have that, previously. And I know that. I've done this work for a really, really long time. I've seen this field transform. So I'd love for people to understand and accept its reality. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to be more spiritual themselves. So, yeah. Just got a guide ping. You love jellyfish. Yay. Oh, amazing. Great question. There's a bunch of people asking how to start tuning in more deeply to your spirituality or tapping into it. First of all, I have so many resources on my page for that. I have so many resources on YouTube for that. I also have a free exercise through the link in my bio. If you really want to start figuring out how you perceive energy, I have info there. All of those are really simple and easy ways to tap in. I promise I make it simple as possible because it truly is. I promise you can get there. So absolutely. I also have classes if you want to go deeper. I have a couple different digital courses on there as well. Someone asked how often I do Italy retreats. I'm doing an Italy retreat in May. There's still a couple spots open if you want to join me in Italy. And then I'm going to Japan in August. And I might do something next October as well. We'll see. But typically I do 3 to 4 international retreats every year to travel with you guys and channel history in different ancient places. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love for you to come. Please come. You can check out all the energy. There's really cool payment plans too. They start at $200 a month. They're very reasonable. So you can go check that out as well. They're so awesome. Is my husband psychic? Yes, in his own unique way. He's a magical spiritual being. And I love him. He also is now a chicken farmer because that's what our lunar eclipse was, and it makes me so happy. We now have chickens up in the mountains, and it's so fun. Oh. How do you know if a piece of media is high vibration? Mostly you have to go off of how you feel. So I usually define high vibration, and I have more characteristics for this, but defining high vibration is kind of a personal thing. Does that piece of media help you to feel better about yourself in some way, or teach you some lesson about yourself in some way, or the world in some way? Does it alter your perspective in an influential way? That's why sometimes people are like, oh, I love horror movies though. Cool. Does it make you feel better in some way? Does it help you realize things about yourself in some way? Have you grown through watching them? Then that piece of media is high vibration for you. It's activating for you. It is more individual than that. But that is the best way I can say to kind of pinpoint it. So if there's something, then you're like, oh my gosh, I always return to this one book or this one show or whatever, because it always makes me feel better. I always learn something new about myself. Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki is one of my go-to books for this, because every time I've ever read it, it's helped me expand, and it's beautiful and incredible, and queer, which is amazing. But truly just things like that's going to be really high vibe for you. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Broad City are 2 shows that I always return to that are incredibly high vibe, because for me, they always help me feel better. They always help me know a new thing about myself. Originally, they help me discover things about myself, so they're incredibly impactful and high vibe in that sort of way. And you can inherently take a piece of media, which is what we do in our writing program. So in the Forgotten Storytellers, where we do it's a spiritual and a writing program. We help you activate your fiction story, get your first draft of your fiction story done through using spiritual channeling your characters, activating the energy, you name it, to make that book high vibe. So when it does come out into the world, when readers do get to read it, it will help activate and be high vibe for everyone who reads it. So that is absolutely the goal of media, in my opinion. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my platform has so many different spaces that it goes in, so I'm happy it translates. Brandon Sanderson is an incredible intuitive author. I am 100% he channels in all of his stuff. I'm deep in Stormlight Archive world right now. I have a Mistborn tattoo. They are activated high vibe books. Whew. I would show you, but it's a little dark, but I have all of the leather bounds over there too. I'm a big fan. Ooh, Under the Tuscan Sun is pretty high. I like your perspective on Under the Tuscan Sun. That's really interesting. I have to think about that more, but that's incredible. Are you familiar with who knows Aphrodite and Venus? Well, I've channeled both of them in depth, the different goddesses there, for sure. And right now, she's raging. They're both raging. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't deal with my hair anymore right now. So it's an uppy day. Read Mistborn. First generation. Second generation is good too, but more for character development. First generation is phenomenal. Read Mistborn. It's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. You're not the only one sick right now. No, everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting it. Yeah, if you guys want to be a part of the writing program, like, thank you for acknowledging it. We do have a couple spots in this next cohort that literally starts in like a week. So we have, I think, 2 or 3 spots left. So if you want to be a part of the writing program, if that speaks to you, you can pitch via the link in my bio and just send us your book idea. And then we have an interview with you if it feels aligned, and then we go from there. So if you want to do that, by all means, that is open to you guys. When I say they're raging, it's a time of incredibly strong divine feminine rage right now. I don't know if people have personally felt it. Everyone has divine feminine and masculine energies, by the way. This is not a gender thing. This is like an energy thing. It is a time of divine feminine rage right now, like massively. Since Venus came back out of retrograde, she has just been bulldozing. If you've noticed, like, we've even seen this in like historical things that archaeologists are discovering. We've had a temple to Hecate come up. We've had a new mosaic to Medusa. I was like looking at my plate of Medusa. I'm like, give me your name. Medusa come up. We've had a new temple to Aphrodite be unearthed. Like, there's so much like rising of these ancient, very feminine gods that are like very intense and very fiery and very passionate, coming up into the space. Like, whew. So divine feminine rage is like a thing right now. And we are seeing that come to the forefront massively. Yeah. My divine, so much so you threw up. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please take care of yourself. I mean, I hope it was really purging. Obviously, you really needed to purge that rage, but like, woo. Oh, yeah, happy to finally have it. Yep. It's really nice to have some divine feminine rage in the space, to be totally honest. I'm going to drink some water. Hydration break. Do deities choose people? They do. Sometimes you choose them, sometimes they choose you. There's a whole bunch of different ways to know that. I actually did a whole YouTube video about it, so I'm not going to go into it too deeply because it's a very big and kind of in-depth answer. But yeah, if there's a deity you feel really drawn to working towards, you can ask them, or working with, drawn towards to working with, you can ask them, be like, hey, like, I would really like to work with you. What is the means of our relationship? Always define what the relationship's going to be on both sides before doing any sort of deity work, because they are not a guide that already has a contract with you. You're making a contract with them right now because you feel drawn to them, or because they're drawn to you and they've been reaching out to you. So you have to sit there and be like, hey, like, how are we working together? What is this relationship before you dive into it? Am I going to give you, I do need a new, okay, I'm going to need to get a phone charger, so hold on, but I'll pop off and get that in just a second. But what is the, how are we defining this relationship? How are we connecting? What am I going to do for you? What are you going to do for me? Like, that sort of thing. So I have a whole YouTube on it, but that's kind of the basis of it. No, my account is not messaging you. That is one of my spammers. They are fakes. My only account is Liker of Words, just Liker of Words. No anything to it. That's my only psychic account. I also do have a book account. It's Liker of Books. That's it. No ones, no punctuation, just Liker of Words, Liker of Books. I have reported all of the impersonators hundreds of times. The big apps will not do anything about it, nor will they give me the blue check mark, despite all of me, like, I have tons of reputable articles written about me, all these different things. They won't do it. So just be smart out there. I will never slide into your DMs and offer you anything at all, ever. On any platform. Spiritual accounts do not. All of my stuff is run through my website, period, or my link tree at the very least. Yeah, so sorry that that's happening. Actually, in my live last week, one of the impersonators joined the live, and I was boggled. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Please go spam this person. They just joined the live, and they're pretending to be me. Because, like, what is that? What is that? One sec. Hey, hun. Will you give me a phone charger, please? Yeah. Thank you. Hubby for the win. Okay. Yeah, it's honestly mind-blowing. Just genuinely mind-blowing. Yeah, I just hate that they, like, scan people for that, and I've tried really hard to deal with it, and I don't know what to do about it. So on the Instagram, I have a little blue check. On Instagram, I have a little blue check, so it's cut down on the imposters a little bit. But here, they just won't give it to me. I don't know why. No, your ADHD med will not cloud your gifts. And if anything, it might help you get clarity on them. These can totally be strictly on a friend basis. Absolutely they can. That's part of that negotiating and understanding your relationship. You're like, hey, can we just be buds? And whenever I think about you, I'll just send some happy energy your way, and you can give me a warning if something's heading my way. And that's totally fine. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Do you have the plug?
That's plugged in.
Thank you. Yay for the hubby giving me a charger so I can continue the live. Hold on. Sorry, it's going to be jittery for a second while I plug it in. Don't fall, tripod. Do not fall. Come on. Get in. That's what she said. Okay. Ta-da. There we go. Yay, it's charging. Okay, there we go. Whew. Do guides give up on us? No. Now, you might not have the same guides throughout all of your life. And it feels a little awkward and turned. Okay, fixed it. You might not have the same guides through all of your life. They might come and give you messages for a 6-month period of time, and then it's time for them to move on, and the new guide steps in, or whatever, vice versa. You know, there's tons of different things going on there. But no, they don't give up on you. Also, you don't owe anything to them. You already are fulfilling your side of the contract, whatever that is. You know, before you came on planet, you went to them and were like, yo, will you help me with these things? And they were like, yes, for whatever reason that you agreed on with them. So no, they're not going to give up on you and be like, oh, she didn't learn, so peace. Like, that's not it at all. So don't worry. Guides can occasionally get annoyed at you, but I have spent a lot of time trying to annoy my guides, and for the most part, it's really challenging to get to actually annoy them. And even if they are annoyed, they can pause and they can calm down and they can still help you. It's totally fine. The biggest thing about guides here is to keep in mind that they are always working for your benefit. That's how you really oh, this is a guide relationship, because everything they're giving you, things they're saying is for your benefit. Not to make things easier for you necessarily, not to make everything in your life perfect and good, but to get you to the next part of your soul journey, to your soul path, the next canon event you need to get to, you name it, but is working for your inherent benefit of moving forward. So just, that's the one thing to kind of keep in mind. Yeah. Why wouldn't my guide tell me where my lost item is? It kind of, maybe it's part of your journey. Maybe it's from your, maybe there's a reason that it's lost right now. Maybe they're preventing something from happening to you. Maybe they don't know where it is either. They're not necessarily like, I know exactly where you lost it. Maybe this is something that's going to lead to something else that you actually need to know about. I mean, there's a million different things, so it's a case-by-case basis. And also, again, they're trying to get you further down your path. They aren't here necessarily to be like, let me make everything perfect for you, because that's not what life is, and that's not why you came, unfortunately. I wish it was, but no. So there's a whole myriad of reasons why that might not be happening. Thank you. I appreciate you all, too. You're so sweet. Oh my gosh. Your guides can totally make you laugh. It's incredible. Your guides definitely have a sense of humor. Guides are they're whole and complete beings. They're whole beings. Just like friends are whole beings. They're whole beings, and they can absolutely make you laugh, for sure. Yeah. Ooh, what is the best piece of spiritual advice you've ever been given? Oh gosh, that is a really intense question. Earlier, like I mentioned, that the universe doesn't operate off of my sense of morality. That was a big one. That's a really big piece of spiritual advice. The other one is basically that it doesn't have to be hard. There was a long time where I was buying into the idea of oh, but it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. And I was like, I don't want it to be hard and worth it. I just want it to be easy. My guides were like, okay. There's no rules. That was a big one, because I've always been someone who likes to follow the rules. I never do it really well, though, and I've always had an issue with that. But I always want to do it well, and my guides were like, there's no rules here. You can do whatever you want. It's magic. Play with it. And so that's a big one. The other thing, too, is that basically everything exists in energetic reality. So if there's a book I really loved or something, I'm like, wow, I really wish I could channel the energy of that or go there or whatever. And your guy's like, astral there, talk to the characters. They exist in energetic reality. You can do those things. And it really, really can help. So, I mean, those are not that's an on-the-spot question. Now I'm going to get off of this and be like, oh, and this thing. But the sense of morality one is definitely the hardest hitter. for me. I do astral project. Yeah, I've astraled a whole bunch, actually. I will say, if you really are drawn to astral projection, you can totally research it and practice it. It's one of those things that you do need to practice kind of considerably. It doesn't usually come super duper easily. It's a practice thing. It doesn't have to be hard, but it usually has to build up like a comfort and a muscle memory kind of energy around it. But if you don't feel ready or comfortable with astral projecting, doesn't have to be your goal. Totally doesn't have to be your goal. So it's both sides of that. I don't ever want anyone to think like, oh, do I have to astral? Do I have to get there? You don't have to get there. You can if you want. I will do more YouTubes about it, Meg. I promise I will. But I haven't got there yet. I've been trying to do more YouTubes lately, and for some reason, everything keeps standing in my way. And I'm like, why? So I'm going to record a YouTube tomorrow, and just kind of get back into the groove of it again. But yes, I'll do more on astral for sure. Yeah, great question. I have a deep fear that blocks me. Any advice on how to help that? So I do actually recommend, if you have a block that you don't necessarily want to understand why you have it and do work to pull and release that specific thing, I actually have a meditation in my Patreon that helps people with this specifically, but I'll give you just like a little breakdown. If you want to be guided through it, there's a meditation in the Patreon if you join that on the meditation tier. So you can access that. But basically, you can just do sort of a meditation activation where you visualize, like, let's say you're on a river and you're floating down a river. Visualize that block showing up in front of you. It doesn't have to be the exact event. It could be a big brick wall, or it could be a big boulder, or it could be a mountain or whatever, stopping the flow of that river. And then get around it. Get through it, blow it up, destroy it in some way, make it go away in some capacity. Here's the thing though, you have to think around it, because what will happen is you'll go and you'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to smash this wall with a hammer, and then maybe that's not working and it's getting blocked. And you're like, okay, well, maybe I should just blow it up with an explosion, or maybe I need to dissolve it into mist, or I need to turn it into sparkles, or maybe I just need to get out and hike my kayak around this block, whatever it is, and then flow back down the river. That is an easy way to overcome or get through blocks energetically that you don't know what they are or that you don't want to fully confront. So if it's a very deep fear and you're like, I know I really want to get through this, start working on that. Start doing those types of things to clear through that block. And that's going to be so, so, so helpful. You're a wealth of information. Do you have Virgo or Gemini? I am a Gemini sun. I am a Gemini sun, a Libra rising, and a Scorpio moon. So right now during Scorpio season, my moon is so happy. Yeah, I'm back. Oh, what was that? Someone said something. Someone said, I heard this from someone and was wondering if it is true not to call on all angels because some don't have your back. Great question. Yeah, angels are a whole entire race of beings that exist out there in the universe. We think about it, like if you think about the fairy realms, or the idea of the fairy realms, how there's tons and tons of different beings in that kind of realm that's like parallel to ours a little bit. Angel realms are the same way. So if you're like calling on all angels, they have all different states of morality. They have all different states of connection. They have all different types of beings out there, moral codes or like thought processes or whatever. So if you're calling all angels, you're literally like invoking an entire race. Not that it's going to invoke the entire race, but if you want to be more specific, you can say all my angels, or, the beings that are there to help me, all my guides, that sort of thing, my protectors, you name it. That would be a little bit more effective. Oh, Gemini moon. I have a podcast episode on the Fae. My podcast is called The Alchemist Inkwell. We do an episode every week. It's me and Crystal Lynn. And Krista is like an astrological magician and like a super like learning dead languages level of astrologer to understand astrology. Plus they also are a pretty significantly powerful folk magician. So we talk a lot about different, The Alchemist Inkwell. Yep. We talk a lot about different beings and stuff out there. I have a dragon guide. I do. His name is Boris. He is now really big, but when I found him, or when he found me, he was really small. But he's really big now. So whenever I talk about him, I have to say that he's really big. Because it's a thing. A folk magician is someone who uses like hereditary passed down traditions or traditions that they know in their ancestry or that are derived from the earth. So Krista could tell you more about it. I recommend going and checking out their stuff. It's Magic Sprechen here on TikTok. And they can tell you way more about it than I can because I'm not a folk magician. I don't do folk magic. I'm not a folk witch. Krista does that stuff though. Yeah. Ooh, Scorpio Sun, Libra Rising, Scorpio Moon. Look at that. Happy birthday. It's very soon, obviously. But yeah. Libra Rising, Scorpio Moon too. Heh. Oh, thank you guys. You're so sweet. I really appreciate it. Whenever I do these lives or get to like connect with you guys in different ways, whether it's like a group reading, whatever, I always feel so affirmed. It's really nice to hear that like the work that I do matters to people out there. You know, like I said, not even 10 years ago, it wasn't easy to make this type of impact. It wasn't easy to like talk about these things. Not many people were accepting of it. So it's not something I take for granted. And I really do appreciate it and just know that like you all actually help me too. Like you help my mental health and you help me feel reaffirmed in my journey too, because I'm on it with you. This is not just, this is not just me. The TikTok name for folk magic is Magic Sprechen. Spreken. Sprechen. I had to look at it in my brain. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. To find out about your sun, moon, and rising, I recommend getting an astrology reading. Krista does astrology readings. A lot of people do astrology readings. There's a whole different ton of types of astrology. Krista does whole house astrology. I am not an astrologer, so I can't tell you. I'm not good at it. It's a type of visual math that my brain cannot do, but I appreciate it for what it tells us. So I would look into that. Yeah, 15 years ago, I think a lot of people were really afraid to talk about this stuff. I remember like being in middle school and seeing on like the daytime talk shows, occasionally they would have like Sylvia Brown on or something, and it would be like the psychic medium, and everyone would kind of make fun of it. And now the narrative is so shifted, and it's so refreshing to see because a little part of me for a long time kept thinking of the way middle school me saw that as being an intuitive person, being like, oh my God, this is terrifying. I never want anyone to know that I can do these things because look at how they're doing to her and she's famous. Like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. But now in this space, like, that's not the case. Like, the article I had come out in the New York Post, like, I had a New York Post article written about me in the weird but true section, which I think is so valuable and brilliant. But I'm not trying to, like, brag about it, be like, I had written about the Post. But I think the cool part about that is like, how validating it was because it was so non-biased and it wasn't written in a way where it was like, let's make fun of this person who thinks they're psychic, ha 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 ha. It was written in a way of like, hey, this is an alternative way of thinking about the universe. Isn't that cool? And it was so neat and validating. So, like, being in this space now is just, it's incredibly magical, and I think it's so, so, so cool. Oh, I'll totally do an energy analysis on Goodwill. I'm going to write it down. But I'll absolutely do an energy analysis on Goodwill because that's some wild energy. But I'm going to do a whole video on it so I can get it, like, really clear. I'm writing it down, though, so I do not forget. If you guys want me to do the energy of any other stores, I'm happy to do that as well. And tell you what the energy is doing in that store to you, or the store's energy is doing to your energy. Like the way Costco mutes you. Like everyone's muted in Costco. Everyone's energy is just muted and dull, and like it's super hard for me to be able to see it and read it. I always get tons of anxiety because I am able to see energy all the time, and in Costco it's just all flat. And then you get out and it's not anymore. But it's by design, so you get lost in there and just don't think about anything and just get this and whatever. Aliens can be guides. There's way more types of aliens and different like higher dimensional beings than we really even talk about on popular media. Like there's so many different times. So of course they can. Higher selves of them, or just interdimensional beings in general. Like absolutely they can be guides. Target actually, in my opinion, Target, the energy is like when I go in there, it's the energy is like attuned to basically give you a Xanax. Like it's like a calm down, everything's calm in here. Look how comfortable it is, whatever, because then you ignore prices. And you feel really comfortable. And so you want to go back there very regularly because it helps you to feel comfortable on purpose. Like that is very much the energy stuff for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you loved working at Target. Target is comfortable. Yeah, and Target doesn't come down. It doesn't have to. I'm not saying that this is like everyone does this too, but I'm saying like the general. In my opinion, I think a lot of corporations very high up have some type of intuitive person in there saying like, this is what we can do to the energy. This is how we can design this energy. This is the type of stuff we can do to make the energy flow in this way. I'm pretty sure of that. I know a lot of corporations consult astrologers. That is pretty common knowledge, I think, at this point. I think that there's energetic stuff too. Think about it. Like, billionaires want to make money and they don't really care how they make it. So if they can bring in energy work to that, they're going to do so. So I do think it's by design with a lot of the bigger stores to make the energy in the way that they're making it. Macy's equal pay. Macy's is kind of chaos. I'll have to tune into Macy's more. I haven't been to a Macy's in a long time. I do mentorships on occasion. I'm probably going to start another mentorship. It's going to be kind of a unique mentorship, kind of practicum style, probably in January, so stay tuned for that. I do have a couple digital courses. I'm actually coming out with another digital course very, very soon that I'm really excited about. It's about how you can decode the universe. Like literally what is your language between you and the universe? Like what is that language like? And how you can figure that out and actually decode it and give yourself a guide to communicating with the universe. So that will be coming out pretty soon, within the next couple weeks. So I will be doing that. It's going to be a digital course too, but as far as live mentorships goes, I'm probably going to have one of those in January, I think. Different than the ones I've done before. I do personal readings, yeah. My calendar for personal readings is booked out a little ways, meaning like 6 months, but you can definitely book me for a personal reading. It's all in your divine timing. I keep bugging my guides. I keep being like, hey, am I supposed to like close these down and do like month by month openings or something like that? And they're like, no, it's a lesson in detachment and divine timing. And I'm like, okay. So my calendar is kind of booked out, but I'd love to do a personal reading for you. They're really in-depth experiences. And I do group readings about once a month. So if you're on my email list, I do a weekly email of like the energy forecast, but more in depth, so you can know what energy is heading your way that week. Plus, I always let everybody know about when my group readings are on there. So yeah, all the information about how to book and pricing and all that is on my link tree, so you can go ahead and check that out. Oh. A little ways. I know. I was like, no, it's not a little ways. It's booked out kind of a while. Like for me, I'm like, thank you for being patient, because like I just feel so honored for that. But again, like my guides are very insistent. This is how it's supposed to be. So this is how it's supposed to be. We're rolling with it. So what I will say, someone just said voodoo is metaphysical violence and it feels like an energetic rumbling when you're being shaken and worse. Voodoo, the way that the white people have taken it and practice it, is not actually voodoo. That is a closed practice that was taken by white people and applied. So if you've had voodoo done to you by someone who is not an ancestral voodoo practitioner, it's probably going to feel really yucky and awful, because it's supposed to be inherent metaphysical violence. White people just took the part of it that they would like to take and use for mass dissemination. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say there. I have worked with a lot of people and spoken and worked very closely with people who are in the ancestral lines for hoodoo and voodoo, and it is not in any way. There's a lot of very, very, very beautiful magic that comes from voodoo and hoodoo. That is not what has been culturally appropriated. And that's why we don't take closed practices, because they're not for us, and we're not going to get the energy that we want out of them because they're not for us. We let the people... There's always a million ways to do everything. You don't need someone else's closed practice to do the thing, to do something that you'd like. And if you take it, like, those spirits aren't your spirits. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand. Yeah. Practices stolen in violence are going to feel like violence when they're doing that. I definitely do understand. I have, like I said, I've worked with very deep, beautiful practitioners of that. So. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, it bothers me that people demonize it too. I am obviously not of Caribbean descent at all, but it is a very anciently rooted practice. It's beautiful. And the energy. Okay, you can see your way out then. If you don't think that that's true, that's on you. Someone's a troll for sure. Like, you are more than welcome to exit. Bye-bye. Yeah. So I know I need a mod. Okay, I know I need a mod, but I wasn't doing consistent lives up until now, so I felt weird trying to get a mod to sign on on, with me. So no, I don't have a mod right now, but I know I need a mod. If anyone wants to mod for me in the future, please send me shoot me an email and let's figure this out. And I would love to have some mods. Oh, you guys are the best. Okay, cool. I'm almost going to sign off because I have someone coming over to pick up moving boxes. So I don't want to I'm not going to stay on for too longer. But for those of you who want to be my mod, will you please shoot me an email and then we can get on a group chat and I can you can help me mod. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. You guys are the best. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're awesome. And again, I do lives every Thursday evenings. So that would be when I would need modding. Oh, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have the most amazing, best night as well. Like I said, I have to pop off. I'm so glad you're excited to listen to the podcast. It's really fun. I love doing the podcast. Krista and I have a great time with it. But yeah, I will see you. I usually start my live sometimes between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Thursdays. So that's when I tend to do them. Sometime between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry. But yeah, that's typically when I'm on. Thank you all for so much for being here. And I will post this to YouTube. So if you didn't get the whole thing, catch the whole thing, it will be on YouTube next week. But have an amazing rest of your night. And I will chat with you all next time.